everyone. So later in your e-learn classroom and also with Google Classroom, because I plan to put the materials into learning management systems. So you get to access the Google Classroom and also the e-learn platform. So I'm just trying to get some time to build up those systems for everyone to access. But I'm giving you advanced access to the GIS data that you will be using for not just for this exercise, but for the next exercises that you will be working on. So kindly refer in your chat box. You should see there a link of a Google Drive which contains the um, a repository of the data that you will be using for the first guided exercise for GIS. So once you click that link, you can access the files, but I restricted it that the access should be for viewer access only. So all the files that you will be using will be based from this folder. So make sure lang na mo access ana. And then I will try to download this first para same taog data source. Let me check kung makaya ni-zip ha. I think it takes too long to download it. Okay. I'll just use na lang my offline files. Ah, there. Na-full naman ay. Na-zip niya. So, that one folder can be saved in your subject folder. So like what I'm doing, I usually create a folder in my desktop where I have the course code, the semester of that course, and then the course description. And then please make sure that you keep a copy of the zip file, okay? Why is that na mag-keep ka copy sa zip file? This is because in case that your shape file or any other file gets corrupted, you have a clean slate version. Meaning, pag na-editing ng buhat sa kantong imong file, usually di mo na siya mo dagan na failures na sa pagload sa files. So that you have another copy, please make sure that you have the zip file ready. And then this zip file, just keep it somewhere na dili siya mahilabtan. Okay, pag zip mong good protected ang files inside, so any changes are not allowed unless you create a new folder. So in that folder rather, you will see a repository of data for today's exercise. So you will use some of this data for the subject or even for your thesis if it's related to GIS. So what you do first is you turn on your QGIS software. And in my case, I already have QGIS 3.10 running in my system. So just make sure that it's open. Once you're done with opening, I'm assuming also that it's already installed in your computers. If you haven't done so, please refer to the links that I provided in eLearn or in the Google Classroom, where you can get a copy of the software. It will take some time to download, so make sure that you have enough data and also enough time to get those files. So once you get the software running, the GUI is actually quite filled. Makita ninyo, dagan kay siya tools, dagan po kay siya og parts. So the basic parts of the QGIS GUI is just this one. First is the tools tab, sa ibabaw, okay? And then you have other tools below, which can be dragged, pwede like kani, kung ibutang dira, or ako siyang i-stack with other tools. So by default, these are the basic tools nga naa sa QGIS. But in case that your installation has some problems, na uban aning mawala. So where will you look for those tools if mawala sila? You can just go to saan na to ha? Here. Just right click here, kanisha, and then you can check and see if that tool is available or not. So kung naka-check siya, usually nana siya dira, imo na lang pangitaon. And for Windows users, it's a check mark. But for Mac and Apple users, it's an X. So mga main difference sa duha ka software. But anyway, just make sure nga nana siya yung mark, whether it's a check mark or an X mark. So when we load data in QGIS or any other GIS software, you need to check first if what type of file it is. So we have two main files. First is a raster file, second is a vector file. So let's explore how all these files will look like when they're loaded in the GIS software. So to load the data, kindly look for this button. It's Open Data Source Manager. Okay, this is for loading data. If it's not there, then you have an option to you can use the project tab and then go to open. But I don't advise you to use this one because some files are protected, so you can't open it directly here. So para uniform, you can just use this one. Kung wala ni siya na button, kani siya, madrag ni siya by the way, or kaning toolbox niya. Kung wala na siya, you can look for its layers panel. Wait, not the layers panel. This is the data source manager toolbar. So para matimanan nyo in case nga ma-move kay hayra ba paspas kay atong kamot or guba ang mouse madrag or mawala siya. So just make sure it's there. It's a data source manager toolbar. So to load a file, just click Open Data Source Manager. Okay, and then this will show you another window. So you see here different file formats that you can use for viewing in GIS. Okay. By the way, am I still connected to everyone? Am I still being heard by everyone?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Hello.
sir.
Hi.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
No, sir, don't know.
Okay. So here you can browse through the files. You can click browser and check whichever files can be viewed. Pero because we're still using the basic versions, so ato siyang open using the file type. So dili ta sa raster. Pero experienced user na ka, you can go to browser. So dili ka mangita. Then any file naman ang ma-open diretso. Pero gusto ka nga tanan raster files lang ma-load, then enable lang raster. Okay? So you can do it. We can do it together. So pwede mo mag-open the QGIS para makasabay. But you can also follow through the videos later. So as you go to the raster tab, kindly check that the source type is file. Okay? Unless it's cloud-based. So I haven't tried this one kung pwede siya ma-load sa Google Drive. I think pwede man, but we just need to set some restrictions. But so far, with the Google Drive that I gave you is for viewing only. So that will limit some access from your end. So for now, let's just use or make use of the file source type. So from here, you can check the sources. So to access a certain folder, just look for this tool or button, the browse button here, and then try to open the file that I just shared to you. So it should be found in C23 folder. And, oh, oops. Sorry, wala pa din ako na copy. Okay, wala pa na human. So I still have it in my CE80 folder. Okay. So since we're using a raster file, so what you can see are all the files that's in your folder. But para ma-designate siyang raster yung i-open, you can actually change it here. There's a file type button where you can specify what type of file you want. Usually for rasters, we work with GUTIFF, okay? This file format, GUTIFF. So, patong familiar gamay sa DSLR cameras, TIFF is the raw file of a certain image or picture na you can do many alterations because dagan siya og ma-store, dagan siya og settings nga mura bitaw ma-adjust nimo ha. So kani siya pud ang TIFF mo ni usa sa pinakadagko og file sizes. So pwede nga ang image moabot og 1 gig. Then pwede pod nga wala siya pixelation. So fine kay siya. So munang advisable ang GeoTIFF or TIFF in general. So once na enable ninyo na ang TIFF, you can then go to the Aster folder. Okay? And then inside there's another folder. This is actually a satellite data that we got for the Philippines. Okay? And there are three file types. File contents. You have the DEM version, the number version, and the projected DEM version. So let's try to load first the first one. Any? This is from the grid 8 degrees north and 124 degrees east. So kana siya nga content ma-cover ang Cagayan de Oro. So just left click that, then go to open, and then add. So once you're done adding, the data source manager window can actually be closed. Pero if you want, you can also shelve it somewhere. Pwede naman yung nataguan. Pero may advice para dili kayo mo maglibog, just close it. Kabulo naman sa muasa ni i-access, di ba? So naraman na dire. Okay, magamit pa mi for later nga kandang exercises. So this is the first data that you can load using the GIS software. So kani siya is a file of elevation. So diri nimo makita, ma-access o ma-process tanan bukid, tanan patag, tanan suba sa kaninga grid. So covered diri ang Cagayan de Oro. Cagayan is somewhere here. But you notice nga dili kaayo siya appealing kay ang color ranges niya wala kaayo na siya na fit for viewing. So when we load a raster file, you make some alterations sa iyahang symbology so that you can view it in colors or even in different image classifications. So to do that, just go to the layer tab here, layers. If wala po ning layers, kaya na-enable sa inyo kay browser, again, just look for a blank space there sa top, then right click and go to layers panel. Okay? In case nawala na siya. So once clickable na ang layer sa raster, you can see nga ang iyang minimum value is 0, meaning ang black is 0, and then those nga medyo white is at 2,864. Now what does that mean? 2864 is measured in meters. So meaning the highest point in this grid is 2,864 meters. And I believe that's in Mount Kitanglad, somewhere here, kanina medyo white nga portion. So to visualize further the different class intervals elevation, we will edit kay diri manggod naka-assign lang siya by default na 0 values are black and higher values are white. So para mas makakita ta classification, we will edit. So to do that, right click lang your layer, then go to properties. So by default, mo load na siya sa symbology, but if wala siya naka-load, kay first time mo nag open, diri na siya sa information mo butang muna. Okay? Then just look for the symbology tab. Okay? And then we'll play around with the different rendering functions. So in the render type, usually what I do, if I just want different colors for different values, I use this one, unique values. Okay, so para kanilugar 150 meters will be assigned with this value, etc., etc. So the band will be just singular. Kaya isa raman ang data sulod, di ba? It's a digital elevation model, so one single info lang yung ma-access. The color ramp, you can choose dagan naman, but let's just use the default random colors. And then blues. Let's try this one. So nag-select ko color, nag-select po ko data nga akong load. After that, I will classify. Okay? So what will happen here is I will get to see 2,864 data points in the map based on this setting. So let's try. Apply and then okay. So makita na to, i-assign niya ang colors from ranges of white to blue. Pero tungod kay kanang limited lang yang ma-classify, 1,000 lang kabook yung nabutang. Okay? So following 1,880 items are not displayed. This is because unique man na to siya and na may limitation ang display. So maning first type na kanang classify nimo ang colors. Other options, just go back to properties and then symbology. What I can do, you can also change the render type to single band pseudo color. Okay? A single band pseudo color will lump ranges of data in one single color. Okay? So what I do is just use the same band type. So isa ram gina, mas pag-click mo na isa raman na. So band number 1. The interpolation will be linear. Okay? So meaning i-arrange niya ang data from low to high and then ang yung relationship sa distance with the elevation, the color with the elevation rather is linear. Okay? Then color ramps, I usually use spectral, this one, kaya mas daghan ko o colors nga magamitan. And then I can use continuous mode kung gusto mo, pero masada equal interval. Okay? And then here, I will limit the classification to just 10. Okay? So automatic na mo solve ang software sa iyang class interval. Okay? Kung kanang manualo ni mo ni taas nga proseso, so tungod na naman diri mas maayo nga. Inyo na lang i-manipulate ang classes. Okay? And then you can click classify. Okay? And if you want or satisfied with that function, let's see if unsay function, click apply, and then the colors will change. Okay? So you see nga medyo na distinction sa asa ang land o asa ang kanang water bodies. Pero para mas makita na to asa gid ang land, you can actually change it here sa 0 and then change the color of 0 by removing the color. So dagan man option to do that. Pwede man imong i-white, pwede pod ka mag-select using these different actions. Na color ramp, na ay color triangle, o na apoy kanang murag memory type, meaning kung sa ang last imo gi-edit yang timan-an. So depende lang sa inyong gusto. So because I'm interested to use white here, magpili lang ko from this corner, and then akong i-white gid siya nga ultra white. Okay? Okay, apply, and then it should change that one. Okay, so murag maka-amaze na kayo makita ang land nga na-remove ang kadtong water body, di ba? And then, pwede nyo i-change din colors sa uban values kay. You notice nga, dire, 318, meaning 0 to 318, gi-white na niya. Okay? So, pwede nyo i-reduce ang value ani, ma-edit man eh. So sometimes I put it or change it to a very low number. I try 5 para gid makita nato kung asa gid ang boundaries sa coastal. So let me change this to 5 and then click apply. You see? Makita na nako asa ang coastal boundaries. Okay? You can further make some changes kung gusto ka nga i-assign mo tanan coastal zones up to 10 meters. It depends. So just change the color there and add intervals. Okay? So I let you explore on that. Okay? We also have limited time to show all these functions for changing the color. Okay? So now that you have your first raster file, you can actually manipulate some of the tools here. So let's try to do zooming. Mas lingaw magining zoom kay makabalugit tag asa gid na siyang lugar. So the zoom tool is found here, and let's try to zoom somewhere here. So you see it's just pixels, but later this will give us some idea nga 1 pixel has a very unique value in terms of its usage. So nata exercises later nga, if you want to show the reverse, pwede natin abuhaton, but let's put it in the later ng exercises. So meaning zoom out, zoom in. If you don't want also to use the tools here, you can just use the scroll button sa mouse. So mas sadag na kay mouse. Sadly for Apple users, di kayo familiar sa o gamit ang mouse. Yan na ay zoom in o zoom out. So mas naka-design gini siya for Windows. Okay? Okay. So that's for your raster data. Next, let's try a vector data. So just go back to the data source manager option here. And then instead of going for raster, we'll go for vectors. And then, mas dagan man siya options ang vectors, but still we'll just limit to file kay mo may atong basic na requirement. For advanced user, kung naka-network ang computer, like in a computer shop, tapos i-share ang files, you can do directories. Or kung mas larger na, isa ka building, database. Or kung off-site ka mo access, protocols using kanang browsers. So, tungod kay, mato na set up mo ang XU nga maka-access mo from the server we have in ERC. And wala pa man to na kanang allow ang access goods, so delete ta mo pa-explore ano nga options. So, settle lang sa file. So, vector data sets at ang i-access, just look for the browse button and then look for the JS data folder that we just shared to you. So, if you open a vector file, basically it's called a shape file. A shape file has many files attributed to it. So, for example, this one, 21 Cagayan de Oro City Barangay. To view that file, there are attachments. Nakatay 8 attachments. 2, 4, 6, 8 kabuok. If one lang anak ma-remove, dili na ni mo ma-open. Okay? So, timan ni ayaw siya dula-dulae nga. What if i-change ni mong file name ani di na ma-open. So, muna mag-keep mo zip file in case na ma-edit ninyo ni, mawala ang isa ka component na may balikan nga kanang zip files. I-extract lang ninyo balik. So, here, dagan siya file attributes. So parang malimit lang to the main vector file for loading, kindly change the file selection here and make sure it's viewed as ESRI shapefiles. Okay? Parang malimit na shapefile lang ang i-load. So, this one. So, tura. Kanira tanan ang pwede ninyo ma-open directly to QGIS. So, let's try first Cagayan de Oro City Barangays. Click open and then add. You can also close this one if you want. Then, ma-view na rin ninyo ang barangay boundaries sa Cagayan de Oro. Okay? This barangay boundary is not official. It's only used for academic purposes. So, if you use this for research, I will not advise. So, just make a request from me directly kung gusto nyo gamiton ang official database sa Cagayan. Okay? I have it in my storage, but only by request. So, kung GIS-related ang thesis, ihatag na ko to. Pero for academic purposes, mga training, kaniya mong ginagamit. Okay? So, this shows us the political boundaries of the barangays. There are 80 in Cagayan de Oro. So, make sure that it's divided by polygons. So, each has polygons na in this section. And the beauty with polygons is you can customize the color. You can also customize the labels. So let's work first with the colors. So same with an raster file. You can right-click the layer and go to properties. And then you can look for some kanang favorite settings that you may see in the bottom. So kung wala ni siya, you need to create first. So pag mag-create, just go here sa taas. Then make sure it's assigned a single symbol. Kaya dagan na ba na? There's categorized, graduated. So we'll work first with single symbol. Okay? And then to remove the fill color, just go to simple fill here. And then the fill color, kani siya, i-change lang to, sorry, ato lang ng outline, na may outline tapos simple line. Okay? So, para na default settings, wala na kayo i-change. So, from there, i-change lang din na ito gamay ang color. So, I think yellow is a good color. Okay? Not being political, ha? Okay. This is the color that's being used by the current mayor. So, yellow lang kayo para mo mugawas siya with the red background. The stroke width, just assign it to 1 millimeter. I know, so it's too thick. 0.5 millimeter there. So 0.5 millimeter lang siya. The offset, you can change it to 0.05, meaning it will be away by 0.05 mm from its original boundary. Stroke style will be solid line, okay? But in some cases, we can actually use the dot line. Sige, para unique din, mag-try tag dot line para makita din. And then, once you're done, click apply and then okay. So, muni din siya ang boundary na dayon sa Cagayan per barangay. So, I can choose to zoom sa downtown. So, magamit ang zoom tool here. Zoom in ko diri sa downtown. Okay, so, nagid siya clear nga boundary per barangay. Next, we want to display the names kasi pulos nga nagbutang tag barangay boundary, di ba? So we can change it here. Just go to right click, properties, and then go to labels. Okay? So diri ra gid sa GIS na label. Katong wala pa yung mga label dira, so ambot sa ninyo na. So from this label, you can change it to single labels. Single labels pasabot one single polygon, one label. Okay? Kaya kung multiple, like rule-based, pwede man na nga magbutang tag other info apart from the label. So, i-explore lang na to na later. For now, single labels minsan. So, the value will come from the column of that file nga naa siya kanang barangay name. So, wala pa man mo kabalo asa na kay na may name 0, 1, 2, 3. So, actually, it's in name 3. Aning name 3. Okay? So, unsay sulod ang name 3. Let's try to look for it. There is fields na tab. Ang name 3 here is actually a string, a text file containing the barangay names of that area. Ang name 2 is ang city or municipality. Ang name 1 kay province. Ang name 0 din kay ang country. So, timan ilang, name 3 ang city, barangay name 2 ang city, municipality, etc. etc. If you're not into memorizing, you can display the attribute table. So how to do that? We can close this one. Just go to right click and open attribute table. So makita na to dire that barangay names are in column name _3. So kung di ka gusto mag-memorize, imo lang tan-awon ang data. So gusto na to ang kadtong column mo appear dire. So go back to properties, go to labels, single labels, then choose the value as name. So there's a sample here on what it will look like. The text portion, like you want to change the font style to those nga medyo familiar with kanang cartography, masada if mas dako ang kanang barangay name or any label sa iya haba ang boundary. So you can play around with the fonts here, but for this exercise, I'll just use Arial. Okay, proven and tested nga sulod siya sa boundary. So Arial. Okay. Style is regular. Size is, we'll look for 8. Okay, so makita niyo yung sample sa taas. So once you're done, you can click apply, okay, and then you go. You have now the political boundaries of the barangays. Okay? So far, so good?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Maybe.
Hi
Maybe?
sir, na may
Sige.
question sir.
So, yes. Isa man nga question.
Katong sa sugod sir, baka to bitang limited lang ang ma-display sir. Dili na to siya ma-edit sir. Katong bitang
Kung siya
sa
limited ang ma-display.
like murag ang elevation kay ana ka kay taas ra kayo tapos dili tanan data ma-display. Like murag sa 1,000 lang taman.
Yes. Kay 1,000 naman kay ang sa color band nyo gipili, ma-classify naman siya into 1,000 types. But if you use other color ramps, makaya niyag sulod.
Okay sir, okay sir.
Mm-mm. Sige. So, for your exercise today, what I just need from you is to finish viewing the raster file. Maload na siya dapat. The vector file, and then the last portion where you need to load the Google Earth file. So, maload diri sir? Yes, maload na to ang online nga data sa Google Earth. So, it's a very simple step lang. To do that, just go to Open Data Source Manager here. And then there's a button below for saan na to? Ay, 3.10 man din yung version ba? Wait. Mesh. Okay, kung 3.10, so di rin nakakita ako. Sige. So sa 3.10 nga version, dili man na ma-load dire. Naon that to XYZ files nga part dire. So since wala siya, naman po na yung alternative. So you need to look for the web button and then quick map services. Yung hindi mo, sir, wala man may quick map services pa. So para ma-load na siya, you need a good internet connection, okay? I-install sa nato ng quick map services. So just go to plugins, manage and install plugins. So kay open source ni siya, wala ni Android ba na nasa Play Store. So maning Play Store sa software. It's called Plugins Manager. So let's check if na-install akong map services. If wala gani ni na-install, just look for all here. Tapos i-search lang quick map services. Okay? So sa akuan na naman siya. So igo na lang ako i-install. Kung wala pa ka naka-install, mo appear na dira install plugin. Okay? So once na siya, you can look for it. There is a web, tapos quick map services. Then inside, just look for OSM. OSM is OpenStreetMaps, and OpenStreetMaps is partnered with Google. So makaload tag data. So from OSM, go to OSM standard. Okay? So if your internet is quite fast, you can actually load here the Google or OpenStreetMap details. So kadto na-enable na ko siya, pero it will not display or be displayed in this map content kina tambunan man siya sa katong aster file na ko. So make sure lang na naka-uncheck ang aster and then naka-enable din ang OSM standard. Okay? So you see na comparison. This is an OpenStreet detail and this is your data. What I want you now is just to zoom further. You need to look for the school. Eh, masig nakalimot na mo asang XU ba? So go to XU. Okay? So you see na data on the building names, road names even, and some of the other boundaries. We'll fix this later kay you notice nga na siya medyo offset or simang. I'll teach you how to edit this one later nga mas mo position siya. We need to discuss first a topic on projections para ma-position na to na siya og taro. So for your exercise, you need to end in this part, but you need to submit the file. So on man na siya submit ang output. So the output needs to be saved. In QGIS or any GIS software, ang main file ninyo, pag save ninyo, dili na siya, mura bitang word na pwede edit sa print. You need to create first a layout. Okay? So here, i-save sa mo siya daan, but ang ma-save ana is the file that you're working. So dili pa na nako ma-view kanang inyong gi-save. So this will be exercise number 3. Naman kay ang first one, you use the katong epidemiological example kato bitaw na ay virus nga ipa-spread. Tapos exercise number 2 is you use your Google Earth software to locate your home or the vicinity of your home. So in exercise number 3 is to display data in GIS. So let's just label it as exercise number 3. Save as type will be QGZ. This is the QZip file format. So save. So what it did with that action is you just save the file but dili na ko na ma-access. Mo pud ning isa ka security feature sa GIS. Kaya kung asa siya computer gibuhat, dili na siya makawat or makuha sa uban nga mo kuha sa katong imong zip file. It can only be copied if kuhaon niya ang imong laptop. Kaya naka-save mo gud ang directory sa kanang shape file, ang directory sa imong main map file. So ang atong i-collect for now para sa inyong exercise will be a layout. So to do the layout, go to project and then new print layout. In the print layout, label it as exercise number 3. Ang print layout will be the function that you need to do before you can save a file nga mura siya JPEG or PDF. So kanang ma-share ni mga map file, it should be in layout form. So muna magbuhat ta layout. Once mo man ka, mo appear din in new window. This is the layout window. We'll explore more in detail on saan i-edit, but for now, I just need you to add a map. So ang map nato will be positioned here. So this is an example of a paper. Make sure lang na naka A4 na siya. Let's change the page setup here and make sure it's A4. Okay, that's good. Then, okay. So para ma-load ang map dire, based sa katong imong i-create, so you can actually change windows from your main file. So maning katong map file. So what we want is kaning a section is load na to dito sa layout. So to do that, we need to add data first. Ang data will be from the map that you created. So kung unsay view dire, we view sa PICAS. So look for this button, add a new map to the layout. Okay? Once imo nang i-select, mo change ang button to crosshair. Dayon, create a rectangle. This time, just create a small margin lang from the upper and leftmost portion. Dayon, long press ang left button. I-drag din siya. Dayon, make sure lang same ang margin sa lower end, just an estimate. But later, you can edit this one. This is just for a rough lang sa nga positioning. So release, and then mabutang dira inyong map. Okay? So in this part, we need to save this para na mo yung isa ka map. So para ma-save na siya, you then have options here if you want to save it as a JPEG, shapefile, TIFF if you want, or any other format. But for now, I need to access this one in PDF format. So just go to Layout, Export as PDF. Okay? So there might be some issues like this one, but we will fix this once maka-discuss na ta on projections. Okay? So just click Close, and then save it as exercise number 3, but we should follow this format, underscore, first family name. So, sa ako Valiente, all caps. And then, just put your first letters in your name. Like for me, it's J. Kinarabay uban para apelyido. Okay, so exercise number 3, underscore family name, all caps, then the first letter of your first name. Then click save. Okay, so napay other options. Let's just do the default lang sa mga settings. Sa hindi go sa akong screen. Kailangan enter na lang. Once mag-press kag enter, mo create na din siya o kanang file. So let me check as ang file from my CE23 folder. So this is what I'll be collecting from you. This one. Okay. So you see mas detailed ang na-save. You can even zoom in. Okay. With a good quality, of course. So dagan na ng info mo butang dira. Okay. So, are we good? Good to go na mo for your third exercise?
Ay, sir, pwede mag-ask?
Yes.
Sa, na-post na nimo sa e-learn tong past na mga lessons, sir? Or mag-wait lang ni?
Ang first 2 lessons man siguro. Let me check. Nag-update ko. Wait po. Pwede ko lang. Uy.
Parang wala update, sir, sa C23.
Lapis roll up ng e-learn, sir.
Nag-change mo ang password dito kanino.
Check kung lock, sir.
Ha?
Check kung kung caps
Hindi.
lock, sir.
Dili. Ako magong password ang change ko bago. Karon pa na ako naman sa to. Anyway, C23 for section A3. Na tong course introduction. Naka-load naman siguro ko. Ay, no. Wala pa na ako na view for all. Sige lang, mag-edit pa man ko ani. For now, if you want to access the video later, ako na lang sang isend sa email sa katong participants ani nga session. Okay, I think that's the more immediate nga exercise nga dapat ninyo mahuman for this week. Okay ra?
Ay, sir, section
Okay.
B3. Ano ba,
B3
sir?
report niyo, sir. Wala ko ma-view sa
Hello?
B3, sir.
Ito?
We're in section B3, sir.
B3. Pwede naman. Okay, di pa man ninyo na-i-access sa e-learn, di ba? I-share naman ako sa email.
Ay, okay, sir.
Hello?
Okay,
I-send
sir.
pa man ako sa
So,
email.
Okay, sir. Thank
If
you.
mag-submit kami, sir, mag-wait lang mi sa e-learn na katong, tong submit
Oo,
sa
mag-wait lang mo sa link sa e-learn.
Okay, sir.
Oo.
Thank
If di mo
you.
makasabit sa e-learn, dito sa Google Classroom tamo ipasabit kay labi na tong wala gid na enroll official sa course.
Saan pag-access sa Google Classroom,
Okay.
sir?
Mag-share na po ko sa inyo yung link. Tapos, mangayo lang ko sa inyong Gmail nga account. Kaya dili pwede ang MyXU nga account. Ay, wait.
Okay.
I think pwede di ay. Kinaman ko yung email sa akong graduate school na MyXU. Sige lang, mag-send lang ko sa instructions on that. Sa kadtong wala na enroll.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay, so I think that's all for this session. Make sure lang that you get to practice how to load the file and view and display data using 3 layers. So just to reiterate the layers, you have the barangay boundary, you have the open source data, and you also have the kanang raster files. Don't worry if wala pa na display ang raster like this. To do that in the next exercise. Natay buhaton nga kanang detailing ani para ma-display na to ang exact nga intervals of the elevation. So ang dapat naka-enable. Okay? So I'll stop the recording.
Sir, question, sir.
Okay. So I'll share the videos. I think available naman po tong videos for the first, second, and then this third synchronous session. So I'll send it out to everyone para ma-view in advance. Even before ma-set up ang learn na classroom. Yes.
Sir, katong sa map, sir ba? Kanang camera magbuton sa nga location na mo ang i-kwan, sir? I-save?
Dili, Xavier getting a location.
Okay, sir.
Xavier University Campus ang requirement. Ang kadto lang second exercise ang get out mo nga vicinity sa inyong house or inyong residence. Sa kaning exercise, it should be in X2.